Morocco isn't just playing at this FIFA World Cup. They are rewriting history, carrying a continent, and forcing the whole world to pay attention. After missing the edition of the World Cup in 1990, Morocco came back in 1994 in USA and did not make it past the group stage. 4 years later in France in 1998, they also participated in that edition of the World Cup and never make it past the group stage. And we wouldn't see Morocco in the World Cup until 20 years later in Russia under coach Ivory Coast. Morocco thought they could do something interesting in that edition of the World Cup, but they found themselves in a very, very difficult group that had Portugal, Spain, and Iran. Unfortunately for Morocco in that edition of the World Cup, they also exited at the group stage. But again, 4 years later, Morocco came back in Qatar in 2022, and as history would have it, they went on to be the first African team to qualify for a World Cup semi-final. Is this going to be another surprising World Cup for Morocco? Hello everyone, you are welcome back to Football Signal HQ, and I still remain your humble host, Mayowa Adegaye, the football juggernaut. Morocco have been amazing so far in this current edition of the World Cup as well. They started their campaign against Brazil, and that game ended 1-1. An amazing goal from their talisman Ismail Saibari, and Vinicius Jr. came and equalized for Brazil. The game ended 1-1. Then again against Scotland, one moment, one opportunity, one goal. Saibari took it in the second minute of the game. They got that chance. He put the ball in the back of the net, and that was all she wrote in that game. The game ended 1-0 in favor of Morocco. While mathematically we can say, okay, Morocco might not top. We can't say they will top the group at the moment, but they've already booked a place in the next round of this competition. They are on 4 points, trailing Brazil, who are also on 4 points but on goal difference, so they are second in that group. In the worst possible case for Morocco, they are going to finish third in the group, and they also have a very huge chance of finishing as one of the best third place team. So we can already assume that Morocco have booked their place in the next round of this competition. So it looks like the fairy tale at the World Cup for Morocco is still continuing. They have a very strong team. Their talisman Saibari has been amazing in this competition. Their midfielder Unai has been great. Boadi has also been great and amazing. He's even a subject of transfer rumor among top European club sides. Real Madrid, PSG, Arsenal are some of those who are touted to be looking for Boadi to join their team. So the Moroccan team have been somewhat of we can say they were a surprising package in 2022, but now in 2026, are they still a surprising package? Are they an unexpected team that people wouldn't expect to go further or do better than what they did at the last edition of the World Cup? Morocco is really surprising everyone. They weren't meant to take a point against Brazil in that opener. At least on paper they took a point. Now they took Scotland to the cleaners. They were 1-0 victors over Scotland just a couple of hours ago, and made a very good case for themselves to qualify for the next round of the competition. I think Morocco is a team that we should watch out for. They are rewriting their history, while the rest of the rest of the world and the whole of Africa are just watching. What are the other African teams doing at this World Cup? How are they faring? Where do they stand on the table in their respective groups? After the first round of games, it wasn't really a lot to write home about for African teams. In summary, African teams recorded just 2 wins, 4 draws, and 4 losses in the first round of this competition. Round 2 games is already underway. We saw South Africa play out a 1-1 draw with Czech Republic. While that did some things for them at the competition, at least we cannot say they've been eliminated. It still doesn't really do much for them. They are heading into the third game against South Korea, and we really cannot beat our chest and say the South Africans are going to come out victorious in this match. So it's still quite dicey and quite dangerous for South Africa. We don't know what their hopes are going to be. Would they be able to get enough points to at least make it to the next round and qualify as one of the third best place teams, or will they actually do enough to finish second in their group? That still remains to be seen. And from what we've seen of South Africa so far, we cannot really beat our chest to say, okay, this is a team that can actually achieve this and make it to the next round of the competition. I spoke about Morocco earlier. 1 point from their first game, and they were able to get 3 points from their second game against Scotland. The Moroccans are somewhat home and dry for the next round of this competition. How are other African teams faring apart from Morocco and Portugal? So I took some notes here to try to state this, sequentially. Ivory Coast were 1-0 victors over Ecuador in their first game. Tunisia lost scandalously 5-1 to Sweden. Cape Verde, a debutant in the competition, weren't given a chance, facing the former champion of the World Cup. They played a very interesting and a very confident 0-0 draw with Spain. Egyptians, they came against Belgium. They played out a 1-1 draw. They continued their unbeaten run in the they continued their winless run actually in the competition. Egypt are yet to record a win at the FIFA World Cup. They had the opportunity against Belgium to at least change this to change this narrative, but the game ended 1-1. We also saw Senegal play France, which was a repetition of their first game, their opener at the 2002 World Cup in Korea and Japan, where they were debutants. In that game, it ended in favor of Senegal. They won that game 1-0, but Mbappe and Michael Olise said no this time around, and Senegal lost that game 3-1. We saw Algeria also lost scandalously 3-0 to a Messi-inspired Argentine side. Ghana were 1-0 victors over Panama, and finally Congo DR played a very pulsating and interesting 1-1 draw with Portugal as well, despite the fact that the Portuguese side, they went ahead in the first 10 minutes of the match through the error from João Neves. We thought that okay, Portugal are going to take Congo to the cleaners, but that wasn't the case. João Wissa scored an equalizer, and that was all she wrote. No goal in the second half of that encounter, and Morocco were able to grind a 1-1 draw from that particular match, which actually puts them in a good position to qualify for the next round. So it depends on what they do and what they play in their second game against Colombia, I think. So far, we've seen just 2 games in the second round of games from African teams. Morocco, they won their games against Scotland. South Africa played a 1-1 draw with Czech Republic in their second round of games. So let's look at the other round of games that African teams are going to be playing in the round 2 of this competition. We've already seen Morocco. We've already seen South Africa. Ivory Coast, the Ivorians are going to be facing Germany. Currently, Ivory Coast is second. They are second in their group, tied with Germany. But the German sides are leading with goal difference. If you could remember correctly, Germany smashed debutant Curacao 7-1 in their opener, while Ivory Coast could only defeat Ecuador by 1-0. Ivory Coast is going to be playing Germany in their next game, and this is going to be a very tough one. It's going to be good for the Ivorians if they can at least get a point from this game. That is going to be very good for them. They'll be on 4 points, tied with Germany on 4 points, and they can be very confident of making it to the next round if they can get a draw in that game. The only time the Ivorians have ever played Germany was in a friendly match in 2009, and that game ended 2-1 in favor. It was a 2-2 draw. Lucas Podolski scored both goals for Germany in that game, while Emmanuel Eboué and Seydou Doumbia were the scorers for Côte d'Ivoire in that particular match. And going into this game, I think the Ivorians, they have enough firepower to be able to contain Germany in this game. I don't necessarily see a German whitewash. I don't think Germany is going to have a field day. I think the Ivorians, they have the players, they have the attacking firepower, the likes of Yan Diomande, the likes of Amad Diallo. They are going to be enough for the Germans to worry about. I know that the German defense can also be quite mean. Manuel Neuer rediscovered his form last season, did amazing with Bayern Munich in the Champions League, even in the league as well. It was restored into the German side. The likes of Joshua Kimmich. I mean, these guys are going to be Schlotterbeck. They are going to be there trying to make sure that the Ivorian defenders don't have it to themselves and try to contain them and limit whatever it is they are trying to do in that particular match. But I still think the Ivorians can at least also contain the German attack. The German attack has not been the best of attacks. Let's forget about the fact that they trashed Curacao 7-1. That was Curacao. They were debutants in that competition, relative minnows at the World Cup. So we can't say, okay, that was expected. But this is Ivory Coast here, one of the strongest teams out of the African continent. I don't think the Germans are going to be having a field day. I don't think it's going to be as easy for them to break down the Ivorians the same way they did against Curacao. We saw Ivory Coast play France in that friendly that ended as a win for them. So I think the Ivorians, if they go into this game with the kind of confidence with which they played France in that friendly, I see the Ivorians at least getting a point from this game. So I don't see them getting whitewashed. I don't even necessarily see a German win. So this game I'm predicting a draw. I think this is a game that's going to end in a draw. It might not necessarily be a scoreless draw, because I think the Germans are capable of scoring in this game. Same thing for the Ivorians as well. I think they are capable of getting a goal in this game. So I see like a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw in this game. I don't think the Germany are going to be able to defeat the Ivorians. Looking at the other games that are happening with African teams in this competition, Tunisia is going to be playing Japan. That is also not one game I'm so confident about for the Tunisians. They didn't start the competition very well. They played Sweden, lost 5-1, and the Japanese side are actually quite tricky. They also need to win this game to cement their place in the next round. I don't see Tunisia getting a result. It's going to be quite tough. They sacked their coach Sabri Lamouchi after the loss to Sweden. Now they brought in the veteran Renard. This is a coach who is well known in the African continent. He has coached a couple of African teams. He was a coach of Burkina Faso at some coach of Zambia at some point. I think he even coached Ivory Cote d'Ivoire at some point in the AFCON. So this is a coach who is well traveled. Former coach of Morocco as well. He's well traveled, well known in the African continent. But now he's been brought in the middle of a competition. So I don't know. I can't really see how much he can do given the short period he's had to actually handle this team. So I don't see Tunisia getting a result in that game. Maybe they won't lose scandalously like they did in the game against Sweden, but I think this is still going to be very tough for Tunisia to get a result from. So I'm not so confident in Tunisia getting a result from their next game. Looking at Egypt and New Zealand, I think this is the last opportunity for Egypt to get a result and change the narrative that they never won a game at the FIFA World Cup. The New Zealand side are not a team that the Egyptians cannot beat with the kind of firepower that they have in the attack, with the kind of players that they have in their ranks. I think the New Zealand is just a team that is in that category of teams that the Egyptians should be able to get a result from. And grabbing a 3 point from that game does them a whole lot of good. It does their chances of qualifying to the next round a whole lot of good. So beating New Zealand puts you on 4 points. And with 4 points, you are guaranteed at least a third place qualification spot. So I think this is an opportunity for the Egyptians to finally break this deadlock and break this jinx of them never winning a game at a FIFA World Cup. Cape Verde versus Uruguay is going to be an interesting encounter. We saw what Cape Verde did versus Spain. They held that 0-0 draw as the Spanish team couldn't break them down. I don't think the Uruguayans are going to be able to break them down as well. Unfortunately for players like Verde and Rodrigo Bentancur, I don't see them breaking down the Cape Verdeans. I don't see them breaking down the Cape Verdeans. So I think even if Cape Verde don't get a win in this game, they are at least going to get a draw. Whether Cape Verde is going to make it to the next round, to the round of 32, this is something to be seen. But I don't think they are going to lose to Uruguay. I don't see the Uruguayan breaking them down. The Spanish side couldn't do it. I don't think Uruguay are going to do it. The best they are going to get from that game is also a 0-0 draw, like the game they played against Spain. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch out for as well. I also got the news that the mom of the Cape Verde goalkeeper is now heading to the US. I think there was a visa waiver for her. So initially she couldn't secure maybe the right form for her to get a visa. But now the American government, they waived up the visa fee for her, and she's now on the way to the United States. So this is going to boost the confidence of Vozinha, the goalkeeper, as well, to even do much more than he did in the game against Spain. So Uruguay, I really don't see you getting a result in this encounter. The next game that I have here is Algeria versus Jordan. This is also going to be tough. But I think this is a game that Algeria can get a result from. After that scandalous 3-0 loss to Argentina, I know it's Argentina, Julian Alvarez, Lionel Messi, an amazing player, a generational talent, perhaps the most amazing footballer we've ever seen play the game. So that's understandable. You lost to Argentina. All well and good. Now against Jordan, this is a game that they need to come and get a result from. Like, it's going to be unacceptable if Algeria cannot get a maximum 3 points from this game. We saw Austria take the Jordanians to the cleaners. I think this is the turn of Algeria to also get their 3 points. Take Jordan and smash them. Take them and smash them. Get your 3 points. Make your chance of qualifying for the next round. Do it a lot of good by getting your maximum 3 points from this game. Anything short of a 3 point from Algeria in this game, they should kiss their chances of qualifying to the next round in this World Cup. They should kiss it goodbye, because their last game is going to be against Austria. If you cannot play Jordan and get a result against Jordan, then what are you doing in the competition? What are you doing? You are not going to play Austria and win. You won't play Austria and win. You lost to Argentina. You need to take all Jordan, get your maximum 3 points, head to that game against Austria and try to at least get a draw. So Algeria, I'm looking at you. Algeria, I am looking at you. You need to play this game and get your maximum 3 points against Jordan. That's the only way you are qualifying for the next round in this competition. We have Ghana play England. Unfortunately for this one, it's also going to be a very nervy and tough encounter for Ghana. It's good that they played Panama and got that result against Panama. Very, very interesting one, because now they are playing England. I don't see them winning that game against England. You are facing England. I don't see them getting the result against England. But play England, try to very compact at the back, and try to limit the scoring chances of this English side. We know that England likes to score. England is going to score. Don't let them score you too many goals. I don't think Ghana is going to win this game. I think they are going to lose, but at least they can lose by a very low margin. That is going to do their chances of qualifying, of playing Croatia. They can get to the Croatia game, be a lot more confident, try to get a result, get a draw, or maybe if you can win, that would be nice. But Ghana, they started this competition playing their easiest game in that group. Ghana versus Panama was the easiest game for Ghana in that group. They would need to not lose too much to England and find a way to get a result against Croatia if they are going to make it to the next round of the World Cup. It's unfortunately for the Ghanaians, they will have to do that difficult job. They will need to find a way to hold England, and they will need to find a way to get past Croatia if they are going to make it to the next round. Finally, not finally, Congo versus Colombia. Congo versus Colombia. What do I say in that game? The Congolese will have to find a way past the Colombians. They will need to bring a trick out of their magical art and try to find a result. They will need to get a result against the Colombians, and I think this is something that they can do. The Colombians they are also not amazing. They've not been they are not the 2018 James Rodriguez inspired Colombians, or the 2014 version of the Colombian national team. So I think the Congolese can get a result. Looking at what they did against Portugal, this is a game they can get a result from. Maybe even a draw, and they can head on to their last game, try to get a win, or just find their way past Colombia, which I think they can do. I think they are on par with the Colombian side. I don't think they are going to be overrun by them. I don't think it's a David versus Goliath like it was in Portugal versus Colombia, in the game that they still eventually did not lose. So this is not a David versus Goliath kind of thing now. So these are two teams that I think are evenly matched. So I think the Colombian, the Congolese team can come out, get results in this game. They've shown that they can be resilient at the back. They can eat you on the counter. Yuan Wissa is also someone who is goal shy. So I think Congolese can get a win or a draw from this game, and we'll see what happens to them in their last game. Finally, Senegal versus Norway. This is also going to be a very interesting one. The Norwegians, they started on a very high note. Ireland is very high on confidence right now. He scored 2 goals in their first game. High on confidence, and we know what a confident Ireland can do. He came to the EPL and he has taken the EPL by storm, scoring goals after goals, smashing goal scoring record in the EPL since he joined Manchester City about 2 or 3 seasons ago. It's been amazing. He qualified Norway for this World Cup after a long time of absence. I think the last time we saw Norway at the FIFA World Cup was in France in 1998. So after a long time of absence. So it's very high on confidence. There's also Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal captain. is also someone very tricky, someone who the Senegalese will have to hold. But I think if you compare pound for pound, if you look at their players individually, looking at each position on the pitch, I think the Senegalese are a bit more stronger on paper than the Norwegians. I think Senegal can come into this game as a favorite, looking at the Norwegians as, okay, this is a team that we can actually beat. This is a team that we can run over. The Senegalese didn't do too poorly. I mean, the result looked like, okay, is worse than it actually was. It was in France 3, Senegal 1. So that looked like, okay, a bad result, not considering the fact that a couple of those goals, about 2 of those goals, came in the final moment of that game. So if Senegal can actually almost evenly match France, I think they can get a result against Norway. It will be very bad for Senegal if they don't. I don't think they would lose. A draw might not be too good for them, but it will be nice if they can beat Norway. And I think Senegal can get a result. I think Senegal can beat Norway. And that's it. That's all the games we have for round 2. We've already seen 2 of these games. We have 10 African teams at this edition of the World Cup. At least 5 of these teams should be able to make it to the next round. Morocco should be able to make it to the next round. Ivory Coast should be able to make it to the next round. Senegal should be able to make it to the next round. Egypt should be able to make it to the next round. Cape Verde should be also able to maneuver. I don't know. I mean, maybe the Congolese team perhaps should also be able to find their way to the next round. The Ghanaians, if they play their cards right, should be able to find their way to the next round as well. Out of these 10 teams, I think 6 of these teams, 5 to 6 of them, should be making it to the next round. And a lot of this is going to be clearer after this round 2 of games. I'm going to come back again after the 3rd round of games. So I wish all the African teams best of luck in this round 2 of matches. I pray that they all get a win or a draw in the worst possible case. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you all in the next one.